Hello, my name is Witty G, and it's October. It's time for pumpkin carving, the leaves to change colors, the weather to be sublime. Finally, a time for me to wear this. And we can't forget Halloween specials for cartoons. This was one of my favorite times of the year to turn on the television and see what interesting stories were being told, or just get those spooky time tingles. While I didn't watch the special for this show growing up, I recently discovered that this existed, and that's the Robotboy Halloween episode, creatively titled Halloween. And I'm almost certain you've never even heard of this special before. Robotboy has always been strangely nostalgic. I hardly remembered any episodes of the show after it was done airing, and it was only kept alive through memories in my head. The only thing about the show that stuck with me was the design of Robotboy himself. I couldn't even remember the name of the show for the longest time, despite how generically titled it is. A part of me feels like that genericism is a part of the reason it's been so easily forgotten. When I remember seeing the show, it was aired on Cartoon Network. Turns out it was created by this guy, who is a Belgian creator who's been a part of several other projects such as Harry Scary and Santa's Apprentice. The show was produced by Gaumont Animation, which was previously called Alphanim. Robotboy was created for the free access television network called Frens 3, with Cartoon Network Europe and Gaumont Animation bringing season 1 to life with the help of Lux Animation and Coffin Nova. The show saw some assistance in the directing department from Charlie Bean, a critical part of late 90s Cartoon Network. An animator, writer, storyboard artist, voice actor, and filmmaker who has been part of projects such as Dexter's Laboratory and Powerpuff Girls. The show debuted in European countries on October 12, 2005, later coming to the States on December 28th of the same year. The show has had quite a bit of controversy, mostly due to the use of the word jackass in European countries where it wasn't censored.
No wonder he hasn't made you into a real boy. The man's a jackass.
What did you say, nigga?
But for the most part, the cartoon is a typical coming-of-age story with a few added details to spice up the genre. The story focuses on Tommy Turnbull, the new owner of Robotboy, who is supposed to help the young robot understand what it's like to be a real boy in San Francisco. Robotboy is essentially Pinocchio, learning what it means to be human, but this Pinocchio has weapons of mass destruction. Moshimo, the renowned scientist that created the boy, functions as a pseudo-Geppetto, but instead of taking the challenge of raising the boy to use his advanced intelligence he's been given, he fucks off to make love to his new wife.
Maybe Robotboy should stay with you.
No, Tony.
These bitches love salsa, oh and a no, and fucking with them old boys, you gon' get fucked over.
Occasionally, dropping hints for Tommy to raise the automaton and upgrades for Robotboy to make him more destructive. So in a way, Moshimo is also like the Blue Fairy, who grants the wish to turn Robotboy into a real boy. The early episodes see Tommy trying to explain a lesson to Robotboy to understand human culture or human emotions, and over the course of the episode, Robotboy processes these lessons and uses them to help him make the wise decision at the end, maturing in the process.
Say goodbye to Donnie.
Don't care. No, like Donnie.
A lot of the issues stem from Robotboy's naivety and curiosity, making him almost like a little brother that Tommy has to protect. A position Tommy is very familiar with, being the younger brother of Donnie, a shitty older brother who relentlessly bullies Tommy for nothing other than a dopamine rush. Luckily, Tommy has the help of his friends Gus, the G-Man, and Lola Mbola, the daughter of an African ambassador, a young lady with quite the fashion sense and quite the sense of bravery. They help combat both the neighborhood troubles like Donnie and the work of the evil Professor Kamikaze and his henchman Constantine.
Constantine, get out of my hammock.
But boss, I'm over here in the pointy gravel like you told me.
Then with whom am I snuggling?
Pointy gravel.
Kamikaze is another talented scientist who has relinquished their attempts to gain fame and fortune from their own unique talents, instead opting to steal the most powerful weapon he's ever seen, Robotboy. The plan is to copy the schematics and machinery of Robotboy and use that to create a robotic resistance to take over the world. Kamikaze has long been jealous of Moshimo's success, and being able to repurpose Robotboy's vast array of weaponry would be the perfect revenge against his old rival, which makes it even wiser that Moshimo gives this thing to a kid. I love the vocal performance of Kamikaze.
Oh, this is priceless. Come on, Robotboy, finish him off. You shall see, my foolish friend. This will be pleasurable to an extreme. Why? Why? My brain may consist of soft tissue, not fancy electronics. But Mama Kamikaze didn't raise no food. Surrender, or I can't say it on television, but I'll do something pretty evil to the boy. Pretty evil.
Eiji Kusahara brings this guy to life and really captures the insolence of a character like this and finds the fun in a washed up, grouchy scientist. Constantine also is such a wonderful foil to the professor, the classic short and maniacal weirdo paired with the taller, dumber, and wider companion. The reason Constantine is probably such a good foil is because the henchman is also the adopted son of Kamikaze, who actually brought Constantine in from an orphanage. And in reference to that name, you might be thinking it's kinda weird to have a character named this with the whole. But it turns out, despite some confusion, it is confirmed that the name of
Kamikaze
is supposed to be pronounced despite his name being based upon the Japanese word
Kamikaze,
which means divine or spirit wind, or also special attacks. Though interestingly, Professor Moshimo is the only character that calls him, despite his different spelling and pronunciation, probably because of his actor Togo Agawa being Japanese. That's at least according to the wiki, and if I say it wrong throughout this recap, please accept my sincerest apologies. I don't mean to, I'm just pretty bad at the whole talking thing. The professor has all the trappings of a Saturday morning villain, an evil lair that gets destroyed but shows up in the very next episode unscathed, endless resources to go after the heroes with, and an intellect that could be used for good but instead is focused on the diabolical. In most episodes, the professor typically uses an army of genetically enhanced animal soldiers to do his bidding, and will also be shown in his secret hideout having some sort of exotic pet on his lap like a Bond villain. He's very campy.
And how about Mr. Snaky? Did the scary monsters fly to my lips?
And speaking of Bond, the intro theme to the show is very Bond-esque as well, with the solemn guitar and the swell in the strings.
Dear Professor Moshimo, how's your latest invention? I just know he's gonna be awesome. Your biggest fan, Tommy Turnbull.
Dear Tony, he has surpassed all expectations, but I fear he may fall into the wrong hands. So I'm sending him somewhere safe. Somewhere perhaps he can learn to be a true boy. A true robot boy.
It makes me feel like I'm getting ready to watch a spy thriller. Kamikaze isn't just some idiot though. I mean, mostly he is, but he's also got to be pretty brilliant to create these armies out of the blue.
All I ever wanted was to control the entire world. Not so much to ask, yet so long denied me.
Just a little sad he's not smart enough to come up with a different target to abduct, since every time the professor attempts, it ends in failure. He's perpetually stuck in this Groundhog Day-like realm. No matter what he tries, what he does, and what he strives to do, it will end the same way every time, with him getting blown up and sent back to his volcanic hideout empty-handed. But will he be so unlucky this time? Or am I serving you up a trick, luring you into a false sense of security by alluding to how formulaic the show can be? Well, first, you'll have to take another bite of the treat and see what's in store in episodes 5A and 5B of Robotboy Season 1, starting with the Doninator. Also, jump scare. This episode opens with Tommy enjoying bath time, only to be interrupted by the distinct sound of childhood memories being destroyed, but only after this shot. We see Donnie chucking Tommy's current favorite action figures into what looks like to be a wood chipper? What the fuck? Tommy attempts to stop this and ends up playing a quick game of hole in the wall. Donnie is so enraged by this that he threatens to throw his little brother into the wood chipper next.
You shouldn't have done that. You're next, butt monkey.
This has escalated so quickly. Luckily, within the toy pile lays the dormant body of Robotboy. With a click of the wristwatch, the automaton is brought to life, saving the day. Holy shit, that was a little excessive. While Donnie is skybound, Robotboy gets a quick tutorial on empathy.
I know, but he's still my brother.
No, understand. Donnie, bad boy.
It's complicated. Family's always family.
These must be the crucial lessons Moshimo needed Tommy to teach Robotboy. That totally explains why Moshimo gave this super weapon to a fanboy. At the doctor's office, Donnie is operated on not by the usual pediatrician, but by Professor Kamikaze, who has kidnapped the original doctor and stored him in the closet.
So when does my regular doctor get back from his unexpected business? As soon as he can free himself up.
Then we get to see Tommy's thick-ass mom and this brick wall looking ass dude, as they see the new technological enhancements added to their son. Both Donnie and his father only worry about whether Donnie will be able to work out effectively or not. I mean, other than torturing his brother, this is his only talent.
Can he still work out?
Yeah, I gotta stay pumped. When are these stupid casts coming off? Don't worry about that. When they're ready, you'll know.
At home, he quickly finds out that the new attachments work even better than the old ones. Donnie sets out on the city of San Fran, destroying people's personal vehicles, mailboxes, and the city lamppost, all while being spied on by Professor Kamikaze, who is vaguely reminded of himself in the smile of the diabolical little boy.
Reminds me of when I was young and wildly destructive.
Oh, you still are, boss.
It isn't far into his path of destruction that Donnie discovers that he can also fly with his new cast. He even manages to get noticed by the only citizen on the street in the entire city, apparently the G-Man, who was at the crosswalk when he notices the new statue of Donnie that has replaced the old ugly pyramid sculpture. No one really liked that old thing anyway, so.
Super strong, flying Donnie, not good.
That's no good.
After getting noticed by Donnie, Gus is taken to the sky where only our imagination fills us in on the details of what happened. Gus does bring back some evidence to Tommy to piece together what truly might have transpired up there.
It's horrible. I only got away because they ripped
What are you talking about? What is this?
my underpants.
Yuck! Never do that again!
Presumably, Gus was super wedgied so hard, his undergarments ripped, and he plummeted to the earth where his cartoon physics saved him from splatting onto the surface like a watermelon hitting the ground at 30 miles per hour. Panning over to the other side of the city, we see that the only other citizens out and about are fellow children who have been attached to several buildings and spires by their underwear, just waiting to fall to the ground. No parents in sight. Nope, they're all at work, getting a paycheck to keep up with their kids' endless demands for kid cuisines. Not a single goddamn adult, not even a homeless one. And I mean, that's a big surprise. This is San Francisco after all. Tommy is told to deal with his older brother due to his blood ties to the problem.
He's your brother. Deal with him.
After a failed attempt at using diplomacy and the power of words to convince his brother to stop being
A big super-powered jerk.
Kamikaze's plan for capturing Robotboy is put into action, and the cast transforms into a robotic abomination that maintains its attachment to Donnie. However, instead of Donnie being the one in control, the robot has taken charge and has placed Donnie on another part of its body. Yeah, looks like that shot from earlier was a form of foreshadowing somehow.
Or I will sit on your brother's face.
Damn, that looks like it hurts. The new robot even uses this new position as a threat against Donnie. Tommy agrees to give up Robotboy, telling him to take the other robot out whenever he sees an opportunity to do so. At first, Robotboy confuses this to mean that this is an open opportunity to harm Donnie in the process, only for Tommy to be a bummer and shut that down. He never lets Robotboy have any fun.
Hurt Donnie?
No, don't hurt Donnie.
Right. No hurt Donnie.
The battle between the bots begins, with Robotboy detaching major cables from the Golden Gate Bridge and using them to tie the butt-bot to a metal bracket of the bridge. After splitting into several sections, they jump Robotboy and capture him. With success within grasping distance, the butt-bot is through with using Donnie, to which Robotboy says,
Don't care. No like Donnie.
Based. After getting launched to Africa, Robotboy realizes this is what the lesson Tommy was teaching earlier was all about. Duh. For a robot, you're dumb as fuck. He goes into battle mode because ripping off cables that weigh about 12,000 tons and using them in combat isn't considered battle mode. It's the use of machine guns, rockets, and those little antlers Robotboy gets that really defines these two features.
When you see an opening, take him out.
Robotboy smokes the bad guy and Kamikaze loses again. Or does he? Because, once again, he's operating on Donnie by the end of the episode.
Don't worry, dear. This doctor came highly recommended. I'm sure he'll have Donnie all sorted out in no time.
Halloween, the 10th episode of Season 1, starts with Robotboy and Tommy looking outside as a shadowy figure opens the door attempting to spook them. Unfortunately, Robotboy wasn't programmed with a sense of humor and proceeds to pummel the shit out of Gus. But not even a concussion or slight hemorrhaging and several internal organs can hinder Gus's usual charismatic attitude.
Dude, you've just been played by the G-Man.
Every little bit hurts.
And more important than any injury is that Tommy admires Gus's well thought out and executed costume that he worked painstakingly hard to create. And if you haven't already guessed it, Gus is going as a lazy dread pirate Roberts.
Yo, isn't it obvious? The guy with the mask.
Oh, my bad, it's apparently that. Unaware of this very important tradition, Gus fills Robotboy in on what it means to partake in Halloween.
You get to dress up, demand candy from strangers, and eat until you're bored.
Little do they know that the bats seen in the very first few seconds of the episode were actually the subtle spies of the notorious Professor Kamikaze. At the evil base, the professor cooks up a plan to take the titular character. The evil biological creations of this episode are these various old Hollywood monsters brought to life. Frankenstein's monster, the Wolfman, and bootleg Godzilla are created off-screen and ready to ruin the first Halloween of a cybernetic child. Outside the Turnbull house, Lola catches up with Tommy and Robotboy. Here, we get to see her adorable cowgirl costume. Excuse me, it's actually a bandit.
What do you think about my costume? It's a holdup.
She's hitting a lick in your neighborhood right now. Robotboy, despite being told he could come as a robot, wants to get with the festivities, costume and all. So Tommy, in a really sweet gesture, gives his robotic friend the costume he put together for himself. Instead, Tommy goes as a robot, using spare parts from around his home, even making it resemble Robotboy.
Where's Robotboy costume? Halloween fun.
The kids hit various houses trick-or-treating in a short montage, only for it to be interrupted, not by the diabolical scientist with an obsession for a robotic child, but rather by the neighborhood delinquents. This is a staple of the Halloween special. There's always the kids who are too cool to trick-or-treat, but not too cool to eat copious amounts of candy stolen from trick-or-treaters. I won't participate in your holiday, but I will hit a lick.
Thanks for picking up my candy for me.
Also, the kid in the bucket hat is rich and his dad works for the US government on some really top secret shit, so it's super weird he's out doing this. It screams my dad doesn't love me and never has time for me, so I lash out. Gus is quick to defend what he loves.
Your candy? Whoa, no way! You'll have to kill me first.
That's the idea, fat boy.
After a chase, Robotboy escapes using flight. Gus consumes all of his candy at once, and while Lola and Tommy are cornered, a horrible silhouette appears behind them, scaring off the other threats. While Gus successfully evaded being robbed of his candy, his dignity wasn't so lucky.
Why change costume? It's not a costume, genius. It's my birthday suit. Gus' birthday? On Halloween?
Oh no! In the airplane soaring over San Fran, Tommy is held captive in the clutches of Frankenstein's monster as a visually impaired kamikaze gloats over his success.
Don't worry, my plus-sized friend. Now that Robotboy is in my possession, I feel footloose and fancy-free.
Earlier, while Kamikaze was showcasing his monstrous trio, he aggravated his pet snake, causing it to spit venom in his eyes.
How about Mr. Snakey? Did the scary monster fly to my lips? That's no good.
Hence, the new patch. This blurry vision has caused him to think that the very human boy in a very shoddy looking robot costume is actually the object of the professor's obsession. The only employee brave enough to mention this is Constantine, ending in this reaction from Kamikaze.
Of course it's Robotboy. Do you think I'm blind?
After feeling threatened by Robotboy, Kamikaze shows his ace in the hole. That being that he's gonna fucking blow up the house of the Turnbulls. He's gonna murder innocent civilians to prove a point to this robot. It's some real Saturday morning cartoon villain shit.
Target acquired. Residence of Tommy Turnbull. 1573 Chattahoochee Avenue, Bay Area.
Get doxed, idiot!
Next, several tests are prepared for Tommy to show off his robotic boy abilities. The craziest is when Kamikaze forces Constantine to throw a kitten off a tower so Robot Boy can catch it. A test that almost ends in a cat splatting against the sidewalk, similar to how Gus would have splatted in the last episode.
Ready to save the kitty catty? Fly! Fly!
Due to Tommy's inability to showcase his robotic powers, Kamikaze has gotten tired of the blatant lack of cooperation and has resorted to more direct ways of getting the answers he wants. Dissection, he's just gonna slice him up. He's just gonna open him up and figure out how he ticks. It's some real Saturday morning cartoon villain shit. After one more attempt to tell Kamikaze that he is a living, breathing, human boy with a soft epidermis, not a hard metallic shell with blue highlights, Kamikaze reacts in the most rational way possible.
Dr. Kamikaze, I'm not Robot Boy.
My brain may consist of soft tissue, not fancy electronics. But Mama Kamikaze didn't raise no fool.
Before the surgery can begin, Constantine has some bad news.
Boss, there's another robot boy here with 2 kids, and one of them is naked.
Robot Boy jumps into the fray and takes on both the Halloween creatures, Constantine and the Professor. When Robot Boy throws the Professor, he inadvertently starts the rocket launch sequence to destroy Tommy's house. Oh no! Unaware of this incoming dilemma, the battle goes on as normal with Robot Boy focusing on the biocretins created by the Professor. We get these pretty cool moments where Lola fights off against the creatures despite not having real guns or any weaponry at all. It's a cool brief moment to showcase her bravery. We even get this cute little thumbs up as well. After hitting all the creatures with the spin move from Crash Bandicoot, they're all taken care of and only Constantine and his stupid boss are left.
You kids think you are so smart. Well, we'll see how smart you are when you are living in a cardboard box.
During the Professor's short monologue, Gus manages to sneak over to the main computer for the rocket and push a few buttons, sending the rocket to an entirely different location, the headquarters of Kamikaze. That's a yikes for me.
New target, Kaziland.
I think it's that time, Constantine.
Did Gus being naked give him a 100% stealth boost? At the house, Lola, Robot Boy, and Tommy reminisce on the night, but there's one face that's missing.
Come on! Coming! Well, hello there, my little... What? Haven't you ever heard of Butt Naked Boy?
The Donnie-nator had a lot more ass content than I thought I was going to get, and way more than I needed.
Give me Robot Boy, or I will sit on your brother's face.
I thought the lesson of being kind to your family, even when they aren't kind to you, was a good one, but I found myself agreeing with Robot Boy.
Don't care. No, like don't. Tommy.
If your older sibling is purposefully destroying artifacts of your childhood while you're still in childhood, those might be the grounds to hire a hitman on them. Also, the extreme lack of parenting in this neighborhood is a little problematic for me. I'm not even sure the kids that were stuck on the roofs of the houses were saved, and some of them definitely splatted. We don't see much of Donnie's reaction to seeing Robotboy go all super, but we do get this line from Tommy's dad giving us a bit of insight.
Donnie thinks he's an airborne, mechanized engine of robotic destruction.
Oftentimes, Tommy finds himself in danger and also learning a lesson alongside Robotboy, but in this, we barely see Tommy in any range of injury. It was like his day off. The Halloween episode was great. It had peril, it had distress, it had me on the edge of my seat like, no, Tommy, don't get chopped up, no! And it honestly surprised me. Not with the 50 Cent dissection, but with the short gag of venom being sprayed into the eye of the professor, and how that actually played a big part in how the episode would turn out. It felt natural that Robotboy wanted a costume and how he and Tommy ended up switching. It truly felt like that little brother relationship that I mentioned in the beginning. The Halloween additions to Kamikaze's army don't make much sense given his usual MO, but I like that he kind of deviated from the genetically modified animals for just Hollywood monsters. The episode also gave opportunities for the main heroes to show their utility in the team. Gus as the wild card, Lola as the brains, Robotboy as the muscle, with Tommy being the damsel.
Boy, am I glad to see you, Robotboy.
Yeah, Tommy didn't have much time to show off what makes him essential to the team in this episode, but that's what the rest of the show was for. The stories were very light with pretty high stakes, but as mentioned before, most episodes are pretty formulaic in how they play out. So those stakes always feel kind of low despite how high they may get. I mean, Donnie should have died in the Donnie-nator after this, but somehow he just needs a cast. But you can't expect me to worry for these people's safety. Especially with the flick of a button on a wristwatch, the most powerful creation ever known to mankind is sent on a rampage on behalf of the heroes. And surprisingly, I don't think that this brings down the show. It actually makes it a very comfortable experience to just turn on and let play. Since you know exactly what you're getting, aside from the occasional use of the word
Jackass!
If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. I'd love to know what you think of this episode and what you remember about it. If you have any episodes or cartoons you'd like me to talk about, leave it in the comments below. I do check them pretty often. I've been Witty G. Be happy, be healthy, and be kind to someone. I'll see you around. Bye.